Hi, so today I want to do a video about giving the product I hate a second chance, because I feel like sometimes if I try a product I hate, I just put it into my collection and never try it again. So I do really want to pull them out and try again to figure out if I have a better way of apply them and make them work, basically. So for primer, because I don't really use them and I don't really buy them, so I don't have anything for like primer that I hate. I'll just go straight up into foundation, which is these two. So these are both from Shiseido. It's their Syncro skin line. So this one is the self-refreshing and this is the radiant lifting one. So I think both of this, a lot of people love them, especially this one, the Syncro skin self-refreshing one. I think it was Tati that done a video on this and she really liked this one, and I think it's from there. It's just become a quite popular foundation on the social media, and also I think Katie Jane Hughes really liked these two foundations. She used them a lot on her tutorials, but I just never liked them. I actually had to review video on this on my channel. I don't want to say I hated them, but I don't like them that much as like everybody does. I think that's partly because of my skin. I have quite big pores. I think for this camera you can see I have quite big pores on my cheek area, so a lot of foundation just settle into them, and these two settles into my like pores very badly. And also this one, it says radiant lifting, so you would think it's a very hydrating formula. This emphasizes my dry patches like no other. So that's why I didn't really like them. So today I really want to try them again. Now it's summer. I believe I tried them in a more like cooler month. My skin was way drier then than it is now, so maybe this will work for me much better. The self-refreshing one on this half and the radiant lifting one on this half. So firstly, the self-refreshing one. When Tati was reviewing, she said when she was wearing this foundation for several hours, the foundation start move around a little bit. She can just pull the foundation back into place. So she felt like it's really like it's self-refreshing. But for me, it's a different story. It's like I can never pull the foundation back into place, and it wasn't like something that I wear for a lot of hours. It's more of like the minute I applied it, it settles into my pores. Maybe it's just my skin at the time are not in a very good condition. I have to say it's much better than I remember, but still a little bit like settling and actually emphasizing a little bit of dry patches on this area. I don't even know I have dry patches there. Can you tell? I don't know. This camera is much better than what I was using when I was reviewing the foundation. So maybe now you can see it better. This area, it's not settling into pores here, but it's like drying looking. And at this area, don't know if you can tell, it's settling into the pores a little bit. And also here, like it's settling into the foundation a little bit. Maybe a little bit better than it was when I first tried it, because I remember it was like a pretty bad situation. I don't remember, but in my head it was like pretty bad, so I never used this foundation after that. So yeah, maybe it's just my skin condition. My skin was like too dry for this at the time, and other foundations works for me perfectly. So maybe it's just the foundation just is not for me. Radiant lifting one on this side. So I wonder if I was applying too much this side. It's still a very thin layer. I think I applied a very thin layer, but maybe still too much. So I want to work very slowly, very thin layer on this side. Bring you a little closer. This is a very thin layer, and it looks pretty nice, I think. Maybe it's just something of this formula isn't working for my skin, so I should just use very thin layer. Let me took another thin layer to see if I can build this up. So this is another light layer. It's still looking pretty nice. With this two layer, I'm not even using half a pump of product. There's still plenty of products on the back of my hand, so it's really very thin layer, and it works pretty nicely. So maybe if I would make this foundation work for me, I have to use this in very thin layer, and also maybe not using this in the winter. So yeah, I am really impressed with the result on this side. This side not so much, but not something that I couldn't bear with. For concealer, I have this one. Is the Hourglass, the Vanish concealer, and I am in the shade Oat. This concealer was too dry for me. I'm just gonna use very little amount of this to see what's the situation. Don't know if you can tell. I do think this is quite a drying concealer for me, because this side I think my under eye is quite hydrated, and I'm not even using any eye cream, so my under eyes are not that dry from the beginning, and I think it's definitely looking a little bit dry at this area. Maybe I should either cut this concealer with some eye cream or use some eye cream underneath to make it more hydrating looking. But I see a lot of people with dry skin loving this. My skin is not that dry from the beginning, and I feel it's drying, so I don't know about that. But on this side, it's kind of looking better than this side, because I didn't bring this up into the my lower lash line. I leave this area bare, and I feel like it worked much better than it is in this side. So maybe I just shouldn't bring this too close to my eye. And the coverage is very nice. I just use like the tiniest dot on this area, and it covered the whole area for me. For setting powder, I don't have anything that I hate too much, but I do have something that I am a little bit disappointed with, which is the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder in the shade 100 Fair. Well, there isn't a shade for this, it's just the white, the clear one. I don't remember exactly how I felt about this. I just remember that I didn't really like this, and I am using the clear one, the white one, on my under eye to see how I feel. Really make sure I don't apply too much of this. And this powder is actually working quite nicely as far as I can tell. It's very smooth actually. Maybe because I just use a tiny little bit. So maybe I was using too much. I actually like this one a lot. It sets the foundation and the concealer without looking like a powder. Let's use this colored one all over my face. I feel like I don't really like this because it's emphasizing the foundation settles into my pores. Can you tell? Like all of the foundation settles into the pores. It wasn't looking so bad until I set it with this powder. And I feel like it was emphasizing the foundation settling into the pores a little bit that I didn't even notice. And now it's quite visible around this area. I think I should keep trying this with a different foundation. Actually, I have tried to use like a velour puff with this, and it doesn't work. It's not like it look bad or anything because this is a Hydra powder. So I think there's quite a bit of moisture in this formula. So all of the product into the puff is almost get soaked by the puff, and there's no product transfer on my face, so I have to use a brush to apply this. So for me this is quite hard to work with kind of powder. Next is eyebrow. So this product I just tried yesterday and I didn't really like it. It's a REFY brow pomade, I think, and it's this a little pomade at the end of this thing, and you take the brush to dip into this and apply. And normally with a pomade it would be a very thick formula, so you can control how much product is on your brush, but this one is very liquidy. It's like a very soft cream kind of product, so it's kind of hard to control how much product you want to use. And also the shade medium is a very yellow shade, but yesterday I definitely was using too much, so today I would make sure I use very little amount of this product. I don't hate it, but still I don't like the color of this. It still is too yellow for me. It's almost like a mustard kind of color, which is really weird. My hair is too cool-toned and dark, so it make the eyebrow product looking so yellowy. Maybe on a lighter, more blonde hair this would look better, but on me it is not. I'm gonna layer some like a cooler toned product on top. So for eyeshadow, this is not something that is really bad that I like really hate it. It's more of something that I am a little bit disappointing with is this Pam Mcgrath palette. It is a very pretty color story, but my complaint about this eyeshadow is the quality. It's not anywhere near the same quality as their like 10 pan, the mothership, like black packaging, very expensive one. If I would pay the same price for this, I would much prefer to buy a Natasha Denona palette, like the bronze palette, the glam palette. Those palettes are much better quality than this. I think the formula is just a little bit drying and a little bit less creamy. I'm gonna put this on my eye. Glitters and the metallic shimmers, I feel it's a little bit drier, so today I'm gonna use like a glitter glue or something. So this is the burgundy matte color, and I am gonna use this color all over my eyelid. It's like pretty nice. I can make it work, but I feel like the mattes in their like permanent 10 shades palette works much better. Those blend so much easier, but this still works if you take a little bit more time to blend it. I'm gonna put a little glitter glue from NYX, and I am using like a purple shift to taupe kind of color. And now I feel like it's working much better, but it still has quite a bit of fallout. I feel like some product definitely falls into my eye, even with this primer. And I'm layering a little bit this gold shade on top. Maybe it's just me being too picky. I feel like the formula of this palette is something that it will swatch very beautifully, but when you apply on the eye, it's like a mediocre result for me. So if this palette would be like $30, I was like pretty impressed with the whole result it gives, because color in this palette is really pretty, and there are unique shades in this palette. So if it would be a much better quality or much cheaper of a price, I would be very impressed with this. And that's that for bronzer. Is this Tower 28 bronzer. I already put this on my face, and I forgot to press the record button, but the reason I wasn't really a fan of this bronzer is because it's too shimmery on my face. But now I applied on my face, it wasn't that like super shimmery on my face. I think that's because I am using it on like more of a powder setted base versus a very glowy, very sticky base. Even on a powder set kind of base, it's quite easy to blend. It wasn't really like very patchy or like hard to blend by any means. It works quite nicely. I think the first time I was trying this, I tried this with a very glowy skin tint and without setting it. And in my memory, like this one just slipping around my face and wasn't really blending, and it was like very shimmery looking. So maybe I should just set my face first and then use this. And now I quite like it. The color, the result, I really like. Another product, it's a limited edition blush from Dior. It's a Rouge Blush powder in the shade 823. It's not a blush, it's basically a contour powder, but it's like too cool toned, so I wasn't like a big fan of it. I don't know, I don't really use contouring product that much, so I actually don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I would use not on my face but on the the perimeter of my face, like my jawline. I think for using on my jawline it works quite nicely. It scoped my face quite nicely, I want to say, and also because I used just on my jawline, I don't have to worry about it to be like too ashy and dirty looking on my face, because you know it's the jawline, it's not on the the surface of my face or the center or anything. So yeah, maybe that's what I'm gonna use this for. It's just sculpt the jawline. Blush, I have two. One is the Colourpop Blush stick. It wasn't blending very nicely for me when I first trying it. It's in the shade Aloha. I think the first time I'm trying this, I directly draw this on my face, and it's kind of made my complexion, my foundation, moving around and not blending very nicely. So today I am gonna took it from the back of my hand and apply it like that, not directly drawing like a strike on my cheek. And yeah, now I think I don't hate it. I think it's, yeah, actually quite a nice color and quite easy to blend. Maybe because it's like such a balmy, like almost oily formula. If I would directly draw this on my cheek and blend it, it will just make my foundation lift and like slipping around. So now it's pretty nice. And this Dior Luminizer, in my memory, this one is too dark for me to be a highlight, but it's too shimmery and light to be a blush. So it's like I don't know what to use this with. So maybe I would try to apply this with a sponge and on a large area, like a blush topper and a highlight hybrid kind of thing. And I don't think it's doing much. I feel like it's just making my blush a little bit more pink and shimmery. Still not a big fan of this color. Yeah, I think I have to keep trying this. For highlight, another highlight. It's also from Pam Mcgrath. And the reason I didn't really like this is, firstly, it's too metallic, and also it's too dark on my skin. I don't know why, because a lot of people loved this formula on them, and a lot of people was like even more fair than me, and it looks like okay, at least not like a stripe on the face. So I don't know, I'll just try it again to see. Like, still, I don't get this. I feel like I can see a little stripe at here, and it's still like too like metallic looking on my face. yeah, I'm not a big fan for this. So now for the lip, I really don't have much lip product I hate. It's only one product is from Lisa Eldridge. It's their lip gloss, and it's in the shade Go Lightly. Actually, I love this formula. It's a very nice formula. It's this color that I don't like. It's a very pretty looking color in the tube. It's a coral kind of color, but it looks kind of a neon pink in a way on my lip. I don't know why. I'm gonna line my lip a little bit. Like still, maybe not so much on the camera, but in real life it's more looking like a cool toned pink, like the Bobbie pink mixed with a hint of coral. It wasn't looking very bad, but it's not what I expect from this color. I think maybe it's my complexion. My face is a warm yellow olive undertone, so every shade is looking a little bit cooler on me than it is on others. Maybe I would next time I will try to pair with a very warm like lip liner or like lipstick or something. But the formula is actually very pretty. So overall, for the foundation, I will keep trying this self-refreshing one. This one worked quite nicely with very thin layer. So yeah, I think I find a way of making this work, which is more hydrated, not so much of dryness, a little bit oily skin, and apply with very thin layer. The Hourglass Vanish concealer. I also figured out how to use this one is not to get too close to my lash line because it will emphasize the dryness there. So I will just go up here and not anywhere further. And I actually quite like this one using that way. It's like quite a smooth formula and it covers very seamlessly, like very beautifully. For the powder, a very thin layer of this by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, the clear one, works quite nicely for me. I think I like this now. It's just don't use too much. It will look a little bit chalky. For this tinted one, I think it's supposed to be same formula as that clear one, but it's not. It's emphasizing the texture and my pores. It's like the opposite as what people say. Like people say it is very hydrated looking and smoothing finish. For me, it's the opposite. I think I have to try this with a different way, maybe with a sponge or something, or with some different base, different foundations. We'll keep trying. And cream bronzer on powder set face, it works quite nicely. So the tip for this is just not use this on a very moist, slippery face. Maybe set your face with a little bit of powder before this. The stick blush, also find a way of making this work is just not drawing a strike on the face. Like put it on the back of the hand and take the product with brush or sponge from there to apply, to avoid this formula making the foundation lift underneath. And also this Dior blush, the contouring powder, work quite nicely as a like draw line sculpting powder, like a very specific way of using it, but at least I find a way of using it. It was like too cool toned for me. It's almost purple looking on my face. So yeah, glad that I find a way of using it. This Pam Mcgrath palette. Like I said, it's not bad or anything. The color choices is just so beautiful. There's so much like unique colors in this. This palette just has so much potential to it. It's just the quality. I hope they will make this a little bit more creamier, even though this is much cheaper than their other very expensive big palettes, but still I don't think it worth the price tag. I think this is nearly $80 for this palette. I don't think it worth that price tag. Maybe $30 or $40 I will be okay with it. And this REFY eyebrow pomade, still too warm, too yellow, like mustard kind of undertone on my eyebrow. Couldn't make it like really work for me. This highlight from Pam Mcgrath, still like it leaves a stripe on the top of my cheekbone, emphasizing a little bit of the texture. Yeah, next time I'll try to use it like wet or anything to try to make it work. This Dior limited edition one,